song, but I'm rather trying to go to the pictures that you sent me, living on the iCloud. Can't remember my passwords, and I can't see anything past hers. I hate that I deleted our text with our last words.
Okay, hello, welcome. This is part 2. I apologize that as the video has gone on, the light has dimmed even more, but it's okay. It probably creates a more intimate feel anyway for this video. So we left off in part 1 with me giving, you all an assignment to do per se. And the assignment to do would be to go about your week and to write down moments that bring you peace. Yes. So that is homework. Write down the moments that bring you peace. Write down the moments that bring you peace, and then write down the moments that trigger you. And I want you to then notice, when are you at peace and when are you triggered? How often are you at peace? How often are you triggered? Where are you when you are at peace? I think I already said that. Who are you with when you are at peace? And who are you with when are you triggered? Who are you when you are at peace? And who are you when you are triggered? Shadow work is understanding the self, understanding those things. It is important. And then another thing I would say is to choose a week where you are really, truly, I would say that this is going to be a week to be in a hermit mode. Healing takes isolation. So get prepared for that. That's another tip 3, or another thing you should know, is that healing takes isolation. Now, when I say that healing takes isolation, I don't mean that you have to heal alone. I don't think that you should ever heal alone. I look back now on my healing journey and know that at different moments in time, I have had different people appear in my life who were in the same place I was, in hopes that maybe we would heal each other. And it was nice to have those people with me to converse with, to talk with, and to be friends with. But as I began to evolve, and it's so cliche to say, and I don't want to say it, but I guess it's true in a sad way. These people were maybe unwilling to move from the space they were at that point in time. Not unwilling, and I don't want to say unwilling, afraid to move. And this Chariot in reverse, shadow work is difficult. And a lot of people choose to not do shadow work because shadow work is calling on you to evolve into a version of yourself that, as I explained in the past 3-part video, a version of yourself that you have been taught to be ashamed of. The shadow self is simply the self, the identity of who you really are outside of white supremacist values. What are white supremacist values? White supremacist values are based in what hair color is right. White supremacist values are based in one skin tone is right, how tall you have to be, what kind of job you have, the education, the house you come from, your ethnicity, and what world were you raised in. All of these things are white supremacist values, and all of these things place us on a value system in order to ration out resources to us. And if you live in a world where your survival is based on the amount of resources you have, then of course you're going to assimilate in order to be able to gain access to said resources. And so we are consistently living in a world that is aiming to gain and acquire those resources. And also, when you live in a world, and the shadow never dies, the shadow becomes violent, or you become violent, or the ego becomes violent when it is taught certain things. And all of these teachings and beliefs has led to violence, destruction, chaos, extortion in our society and in our world. And so it is up to us, all of these things. My neighbor just opened their window and just distracted me. Anyway, it is up to us to, anyway, all of these things taught us to hate ourselves, is what I was trying to say. And so all of these things have taught us to distrust ourselves. And so when you are working to heal yourself, you are working to travel or reconnect to a specific aspect of yourself that you've been taught to shun. And all of that programming that you have been taught is going to teach you not to. And I think that that is why this Ten of Swords is out here in reverse with our, first tarot pool, because, there's a lot of programming that stops you from moving forward. That's a lot of programming that stops you from being happy. Specifically when it comes to like pursuing your dreams versus going to college. I'm somebody who chose to go to college, and I think I wasted 4 years of my time at American University, to be honest. But I went to college because I was taught that I was supposed to go to college in order to be successful. But at 23, I'm choosing to challenge that notion that success comes from a degree. And I believe that success can truly come from me knowing myself, tapping into myself, and tapping into the knowledge. And that I can redefine what success means, right? What is success? Success is not $20 million in my bank account. The only reason I would want $20 million in my bank account is to redistribute resources to communities that need those resources. And I think that it's a shame, specifically Black millionaires who have money and don't go into communities that can be saved and refurbished, and save and refurbish those communities, and are rather interested in being status symbols. But that's neither here nor there. All of this is interconnected, and that is why I bring up things like that, because our world is so much bigger than just one day making the bag and having a big house and a white picket fence and the kids. All of these things are white supremacist indoctrination and have been taught. And then to even get there, there are barriers that are placed in order for you to get there. And so I really want people to understand how all of this is interconnected, and how healing is an in-depth work of getting back to yourself, but also understanding what this thing that we are existing in really is. And so that was my tip one for how to begin shadow work. And how to begin shadow work is really, truly understanding yourself. And so I guess I can turn the second video at this point, which is 7 minutes and 53 seconds in. I will write that down. Or in case somebody wants to ever fast forward into the teaching aspect, this is my first ever teaching, but it really is just an idea of something maybe that you can do, because I want people to manifest. I really do want people to be successful. I want us to get back into a world that believes in love. It's so sad that we live in a world that believes that love is no longer real, and that chaos is what has to rule the day, and that things happen because that's how they're meant to happen. And it's not. We have to become imaginative enough to reimagine a world that is so much better than what we have it today. But in order to become imaginative enough to bring that world into fruition, we have to heal and unlearn everything that this previous one has taught us. And in order to do that, it is so many steps. So I will not ramble. So I will say, like I said, tip one, let me go back and reiterate what I said. My tip one is to search for peace. Tip two is to heal yourself. And tip three is to choose yourself. And tip three is to go into isolation. So how do we choose peace? So I will say to, first of all, keep a little journal that will be your emotion journal. We'll call that your emotions journal. In this emotions journal, I want you to pick a week, maybe even a month might even be better. And I want you to take complete stock of your life. That's the first thing you have to do, is to take complete stock of your life. your emotional life first, and your physical one, and then your metaphysical physical one, whatever, you know what I mean? So the first thing you should do for the emotions week is to write down the moments that bring you peace, and then write down the moments that trigger you. Now, to be able to do this, I want you to simplify it by writing down the moments in the week that you're really happy, or even feel slightly happy. Whenever you feel happiness or joy or peace, happiness, joy, peace, HJP, happiness, joy, peace, write down those moments. Anytime you feel happiness, joy, peace, you should write down those moments. And then anytime you feel anger, jealousy, spite, envy, or anything that feels heavy and negative and weighs you down, write those moments down. Write those down, and then write down who you were with, where you were, what you were doing. And then when you write those down, write down why you felt that way. Why did you feel that way? And that's the first why you're going to answer. And then your second why is like, okay, so why did you feel this? So for example, a personal example is, I used to have a friend and she would always piss me off. So let me make it quick. Let's see if I can make this a quick and simple example. Sally called me ugly. How did that make you feel? Oh, no. Sally said my business was not going to succeed. That's a better one. Would that make you feel? Well, that made me feel a little offended. Why? Because that's something nasty to say. Why? Well, Sally's my friend. Well, and Sally shouldn't say something like that to me. And then, but programming is going to say, but Sally's my friend, and she wouldn't mean that. Me now, Sally says something like that, Sally ain't my friend, Sally can bounce out of my life. And that might be my response, like, oh, I'll still keep Sally in my life. But why? It's an evaluation. Healing is a questioning of why. And the reasoning is to get to the root answer of, okay, why do I believe this? Why do I believe this? Where does this come from? Who taught me this? You know what I mean? Because when we stop and really assess ourselves, when we stop and really ask the questions of who am I and why am I doing this? What is it that I'm working towards? And is this what's going to really bring me joy? When we access those points in our lives and truly are intentional and are truly are truly intentional about what it is that we want to manifest in our lives, then we're able to manifest it in our lives. And so that is step one in beginning shadow work and understanding your shadow, is to understand your emotional body. And so the lesson for this week is to take a week out. This upcoming Monday might be beautiful to do it. Is to take a week out and pay attention to your emotional body. Emotional highs. When do I feel high? When do I feel low? Why? Who am I with? Who makes me feel high? Who makes me feel low? And once that is done, then we can move into the next step of shadow work, which is then the next level of shadow work, which is then clearing out the physical after clearing out the emotional, which I might film tonight or I may save for another day. But right now, that is all I'm being called to say. Maybe I'll pull some cards to see if there are any cards that are any messages. The Sun in reverse. You are safe to be who you are. You are safe to shine your light. Who you are is of value. Who you are is worthy. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to tell anything to anyone. Your life is not a journey towards accomplishing a white supremacist dream, a white supremacist goal. You are so much more than that. You are a part of the sun and the moon and the oceans. You're part of the wind. You are cosmos having fun. You are the earth dancing. You are so much more. And so the lesson and the message with the sun card in reverse, with this moon in reverse, listen to your intuition. Listen to what it says. It's not wrong. That little voice, listen to it. Don't silence it. When something hurts and you know it hurts, don't silence that little voice. Listen to it. When something feels right and feels good, even though people say it doesn't, if it's your passion, it's your passion. You have one life, one moment. I'm 23 years old. That's crazy. I'm gonna close my eyes and I'm gonna open this shit one day and I'm gonna be fucking 33. And you know, I'm so happy that I started my healing journey, because that's what growing up is. Growing up is not aging. Growing up is getting to a point in your adult life where you realize that, like, being an adult doesn't mean that you have to turn into the abusers who abused you. Growing up is realizing that what those people did to you was wrong, and now that you're no longer in those grips, and now that you are of age and you are able to do certain things for yourself, you can make the decision to choose differently. So choose differently, because this doesn't have to be what the earth looks like. This doesn't have to be what our manifestation is. We don't have to work 70, 40-hour weeks. We can all live for free. We can all have good food, good medicine, good doctors, good caretakers, community members who we can trust, community members who we can love. These human conditions are created by white supremacist values and white supremacist teachings. We kill each other and murder each other because power is a placement of value on human life. Wow. Power is a placement of value on human life. Wow. Yes. And we murder people who we've deemed unvaluable because they're taking up space, because they don't deserve resources, because people are greedy, because they've been taught to hoard, because we live in a lack versus abundant mindset. Our world can change. Your world can change. You don't have to live the same world that your mothers and your fathers and your forefathers lived in. You are free. Grant yourself the freedom that you want. Don't wait for anybody else to give it to you. You are already free. Now bring it from here into here. Much love. I hope this message is finding you when it needs to. I'm sending everyone in my sphere so much love. I will put my Cash App in the bottom, because I will, please, if this helps you, share. Help me, help you. Yeah. Much love as always. I don't know why I was about to give y'all the finger. I was about to do some things because the rings are on my middle finger. Alright. Anyway, whatever.